Hello, everyone. Hello again. This is our second session for today. It's April 8th. We're having a Norwegian Cruise Line today. We have Chris with us. Chris with Norwegian. Hey, Chris.
Hey Roy, how are you?
Good, good. We're gonna wait for a few people to come aboard and to click some of the likes so we'll know that they're on. We've been having some issues with sound, so I hope we don't have any problems on the site. Yeah, I think we have already 6 people aboard. We started a tradition that's earlier. If someone's here celebrating anything, if they have a birthday coming up, just let us know. We're trying to focus on the good things and the happy things.
Sure.
Um, uh, so if someone here on the live has a birthday, maybe it's Shelly again. We have Shelly in the group that has a birthday.
Happy
So,
birthday.
Chris, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with Norwegian, if there's any updates. Um, yeah.
Well, right now, as you know, or maybe some of you may not be aware, but obviously to bring you up to speed, we do have we've currently suspended our sailings, much like a lot of the our competitors. Starting March 13th, we've done it all the way to May 10th. So basically, 2 months of sailings have been suspended. Roy, are you there? Because I lost your visual.
Oh no, I'm here. I'm just
Okay, I
giving
can
you the
probably.
stage. Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
no.
Yeah.
Because last week we tried this and there was like some technical difficulty on my part, so I just didn't want to make sure I lost you.
No,
Um,
I was just trying to play with it to give you the space, but
okay,
that's
no,
go
no,
ahead.
perfectly fine. But like I said, we suspended sailings from March 13th to May 10th. Everything from May 11th on is still ongoing, and is still scheduled to sail. Of course, so if there's any updates, we will provide those updates. That does include, I know, some hot button topics like Alaska, Canada, New England, and Europe. Those sailings are still on beyond May 11th, unless we have another update that changes things. So right now, everything is going on.
As soon as you've mentioned Alaska, people are.
Yeah, I see. I see. One question came in from Krista asking about Alaska. So yeah, Alaska as of right now, from May 11th on, is still on as scheduled. Of course, we're well aware of the stoppages in the Canadian ports. The port of Seattle is currently closed indefinitely. So right now, what I can tell you is we are trying to find ways to see if there's a workaround. Of course, the major issue is the Jones Act. So we're trying to see what can be done towards that. Of course, Seattle being closed is a major hurdle. So I imagine it's probably alternate ports to depart from. Of course, this is all discussion, all hypotheticals. So if maybe it's a slim chance of occurring, but a chance is a chance, and you got to take it. It would appear, but right now it's still ongoing. But if we do have any update, I will provide that information to Roy as well as to our travel partners on social media. And our partners' first emails do go out accordingly when that kind of information is determined.
So for Alaska, I know again Jones Act is a problem, and Seattle, of course, it's a problem. But let's say if Seattle's open, is there any option that they consider that they can still dock in Canada but not get people off and just clear the boat like out of customs immigration and just continue?
I think that's what they're trying. I think that's what the path that we're trying to go for is to seeing, like, if even for the cruiser that stop off and say Victoria, maybe can we just dock in Victoria without clearing customs or getting off. So I imagine that some of the discussions, I'm just, I'm
Yeah,
just.
because that's been done. I know in inaugurals that you go to Great Stirrup Key, someone's getting off, kind of getting off. They're clearing it and then just continuing on. And this is like a loophole to
And,
skip
and we've had it
people.
after 9/11. The same kind of thing applied. So I think that's the slim shot that we're going for, is that maybe we can get that workaround. Obviously, we're in a bit of a different climate right now with this, and obviously we're taking extreme precautions. And I do want to advise that we wouldn't sail to Alaska just for the sake of doing it, not to be stubborn or anything like that. Our foremost concern are our guests and our crew. We would not want to put them in a situation that would, cause them, to catch this illness. So if we feel like that's not going to happen and we can't work with, and the governments won't, allow us to do this, we're just not going to do it. And that will, we'll have to make do on that. We are trying to see if there's a workaround, both for health wise and to make the sailings work. But if that's not going to happen, we're not going to proceed just for the sake of doing it. Our concern is for our clients and our crew, first and foremost. But we are also trying to see if there's a way for these vacations to occur. But we all can read the tea leaves. We know it's probably going to be more difficult to navigate that, but we do have to try.
And I don't know if you saw, I know the CDC issued some sort of like an article, guidelines. I don't know if it's considered like a legal thing. I don't know if you saw, they came up with some really, I don't know, weird restrictions. If the ship does have, or if someone does catch the virus, the cruise line has to fly everyone using private or charter flights. Have you seen it? It looks a bit.
I heard about it today. We have a department conference call, and a colleague of mine mentioned an agent of theirs that found the YouTube video referencing it. I had looked on the CDC website myself just to see what it was. The last update I saw was April 4th, and that seemed to be pertaining more so for like the guests that were disembarking the last set of ships that were coming in, on that, for laid out with the parameters you just gave. I maybe that I've been in conference calls all day, so maybe I've missed something.
It wasn't from today. It's possibly that it was from the 4th. It is possible that they're referring to existing, because I know there's still people out there somehow with ships, not that many, but
Yeah,
maybe it's
which
valid
I saw
for.
too. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I know another competitor of ours has like a couple of ships off the coast of Port Everglades right now. And the way I read that article was pertaining to those ships, because
Okay.
that's right now what's going on. With that being said, the CDC will be in compliance with all the ports, all the world's governments in how we're going to, and all the cruise lines, and how we're going to proceed with this, because much like after 9/11, when it came to flying, there was a lot more scrutinized security, to get on an airplane. It could be much in the same way. I read an article today of some Chinese cruise lines that are going to start getting ready to sail in the next month, that they're going to do away with going to the buffet and selecting your own food, where everybody, they're going to serve you basically in the buffet. um, you know uh, lowering the capacities in the main dining rooms to have less people being near each other. So that's
Oh,
I
okay.
so my boss was calling me, but I
Oh, okay.
send him a voicemail.
I thought we
Um,
lost you for a second.
yeah. So but otherwise, it's there's probably going to be some stark changes when we are getting back to something resembling normal. And what be, I don't know. Sorry about that. But I don't have any new updates on what that's going to be. But once we get closer to sailing, we will have that fleshed out and given to you, so then you can be able to tell that to your clients, because that's going to be definitely going to be very important information.
And any thoughts about maybe taking one of the ships and sending it back to China? I know Joy was supposed to be, but then change the plans. But any plans to try and recover some income or get some
Well,
revenue?
we had the Spirit there, and the Spirit obviously was one of the first ones to be rerouted because of it when everything started, over in China. So we moved the ship over to Europe. Now we do have on the books sailings for early next year for China. So that would probably be when we would go back. But of course, that's all subject to change. It's really just going to be on, the safety for the crew and our guests to see if that's a feasible option. The Joy was moved out for completely different reasons. The Spirit was more so to offset those original reasons, and now the Spirit, was taken out altogether for health. But right now, the Spirit is slated to go back. Whether that sticks remains to be seen.
Okay. So we know, I mean, right now we said the sailings up until end of May are canceled, right?
Right now, sailings until May 10th.
May 10th. Okay.
Yes.
And can you tell us a little bit if we still have clients that had canceled bookings, they have future cruise credit? Can you explain to everyone what they're supposed to be doing right now?
Sure. So back on March 10th, we rolled out our peace of mind policy. So peace of mind allowed guests. So this is more so for those guests that have not had their sailing suspended. If your guests during the peace of mind policy opt to cancel, and they have the flexibility to cancel up until 48 hours before the cruise. If they cancel because of ongoing concern, this is for sailing between now and September 30th of this year. They can cancel the sailing and get 100% credit of what they've paid applied as a future cruise credit, which they can utilize towards a future cruise between July 1st and December 2022. So basically, you have well over 2 years to actually go ahead and sail utilizing that credit. Now, you have a year from when that credit was issued to actually place the booking, but you have until December 2022 to actually sail. Now, for anybody that has had their sailing suspended from March 13th to May 10th, and they were still booked, you have the choice of getting a future cruise credit of up to 125% of what you put down, or the ability to request a full refund. Now, if you had the sailing suspended from May 13th to April 11th, you can actually go ahead and request the refund now. We have a form on our website at ncl.com, which you can look at. Also, for our travel partners on Norwegian Central, we do provide that with the FAQs of that refund form. You can go ahead and make that request. You have until April 27th. Now, if your guests were on the second set of suspended sailings from April 12th to May 10th, the earliest you can request that refund will be this coming Monday, April 13th. So you can't use that same form just yet. The reason why of the delay is because we're still processing all the refund requests from the first suspension. Otherwise, the future cruise credits are being processed automatically. Now, if your guests still want to do a refund, that's fine. They still can request it. But the FCC has already been generated and being applied to the Latitudes profile in the event that they're ready to reutilize it. If they're not, just sit back, wait for the refund form to be available, go ahead and fill that out, and then a refund will be submitted back to the client within 90 days. The reason why it's taking so long is, again, to accommodate all the requests. It's not going to be an easy process, unfortunately. But again, the FCCs are ready to be utilized if they are ready to use that. To that end, if your guests are ready to use the FCC, they can make a booking now for a future sailing from July 1st to December 2022 and receive an additional 20% off that new cruise. Roy and I, we were talking about that before we went live. So if they decide they want to rebook, they can utilize that 20%. And for our travel partners, you would get a bonus 5% commission on those bookings. Right now, that promotion is good until April 14th, so next Tuesday.
Okay. Any thoughts about extending the date, or we're still keeping with the?
There's been buzz about it. I can't tell you anything concrete, but I would say it would be extended.
Okay. And everything can pretty much be done online, right? If we request the credit, they get 125% for the future cruise credit. It goes automatically? Do we need to add the 25% later? I've heard some people having some issues with that.
So how it works is, so let's say you want to utilize, for that 125%, when you see your future cruise credits applied to your guest Latitudes profile, it's going to be segmented in two separate FCCs. one for 100%, and one for that overage of 25%. How you would go ahead and you can book it online or you can call a reservations department, but let's say you want to do it online. You would go ahead and first apply that bonus FCC, so it would be that 25 additional. You apply that first. The reason why you apply that first is that's being done as a discount off the cruise fare for the new cruise. Once you've applied that, the 100% remaining acts as a payment. So you don't have to put down a new deposit. Your payment is that FCC, so you would place that down as the payment, and then it would go towards the cruise. Let's say for the sake of discussion, the new cruise is less expensive than the FCC. Any overage on that FCC will just remain on the Latitude's profile and can be utilized down the road for a future cruise. Now, keep in mind the FCCs can be used towards payments, anything on the invoice. If you prepay a shore excursion, you can put the shore excursion on the reservation. That FCC can go towards that. Prepaid service charges, it can go towards that. The beverage and dining packages, if you don't choose that in free at sea and you select the dining package or beverage package, it can be paid towards that. Or it can be paid towards the gratuities of that if you have selected that choice in the free at sea. So it acts as a form of payment to everything that's on the invoice.
So just to recap, when we cancel and we opted out for the future cruise credit, well, the future cruise credit comes pretty much automatically. There's nothing that I need to do to get the future cruise credit. It's only if I want a refund, I need to use the link, right?
Correct. Yeah, the future cruise credit will be done processed automatically because that's the simplest way to do that. That process takes about 7 days, although I've seen it less. But the refund itself can be requested, and that form is available right now for those that were suspended from May 13th to April 11th. And then starting Monday, those that were suspended from April 12th to May 10th, they can go ahead and fill out that refund form. So even though you'll get an email stating that your FCC is ready, and your guest has already told you, hey, I want a refund, that's perfectly fine. You can discard the email. Once you're able to fill out the refund form, fill it out, and then that refund will be processed. The FCC will go away, and then they'll get that refund in 90 days. But remember, the latest to request that refund is April 27th. If you don't request it, the FCC will just simply remain.
That's for both, or just for the original term?
That goes for both. So for both suspensions, you have until
by
April
April 27th. If you are now, if we picked it, we got the future cruise credit and we got the 125. It's separated into 100 and the 25. We see it in the coupons, right? When we add the person, we created the booking. We'll see it in the coupon, same as you'll see a regular cruise next certificate, right? All the coupons, it will be there.
That is correct. So you would just go to the coupons tab, and you'll see much like you said, Roy. You would see it alongside the cruise next certificates to be applied as a form of payment. And actually, to touch upon that point, I'm glad you brought up the cruise next certificate. So let's say your guest utilized a cruise next certificate, and they've canceled, and they're either they're getting the FCC, whether it's peace of mind or on the suspended sailings. The cruise next certificates will go back separately. So they go back to their original form as a cruise next certificate. So if you've received the letter with the FCC amount and you're wondering, wait, it's $250 or $500 less than what they paid, that's because that difference is the cruise next certificate being placed back to the Latitude's profile. So now to Ray's point, when you go back in to do the rebooking, to utilize it, you'll see it in the coupons tab as a form of payment similar to the cruise next certificates. Now, the order to place that on for the new booking would be you're going to want to place the cruise next certificate first. Then that, if you have that bonus FCC of 25% or 50 if you were part of that first weekend of suspended sailings from March 13th to March 17th, you would put that bonus second. And then the remaining 100%, that's the one you would put on last.
Okay. And then on top of it, by April 10th, or was it 13th? They still get another 20% off if they book, right? Using the future cruise credit?
Correct. So up until April 14th now.
14th.
Before it was April 10th, now it's April 14th. And, there's discussion of moving it back again. But let's say right now, April 14th. So until April 14th, if you rebook it using the FCC, you get the additional 20% off. Again, that 20% will only be eligible for those guests that have the FCC. It's not for brand new clients.
Right. So we'll see the 30 off, and then we'll see 20 off once you add their latitude number.
Correct. They stack on top of each other.
Okay. So a lot of people will probably ask you. I know our host is pushing really hard for it. Any chance they'll be extending the payments for the full payments that are due, that are coming up really soon?
Well, I know as of right now, I know your house, Jen Lee. She's already actually reached out to our chief sales officer in regards to getting guidance on that. I don't know how that conversation went, so I don't have any new details. So, barring any new information as of right now, there's no discussion on pushing the final payments back. But I do know that at least there was a talk between your host agent and our side.
It seems internet has been going crazy. People are just using it way too much, I guess. So we started a new session. We're gonna give people a few minutes to come back. Let me just see. Yeah, I think we have a new session. Well, all of these it's recorded anyway, so people will be able to see it. Again, we'll give people some chance to go back. Yes, they're saying that they can hear us now, so that's good. Thank you, Jill. Where were we? Yeah, final payments. Yeah, well, we'll see. Again, I think that's part of the issues now, where people are canceling because of that, and I can totally understand.
I guess that's true. And I've gotten those requests a lot because now we're at the point where those July sailings, August sailings are approaching the final payment, and they have to make a decision. But it would obviously help to have that date pushed back. So hopefully your home office was successful, in that in getting that rectified. But as of this moment, I haven't heard anything in that regard.
Okay. What about deployment? Any updates? Well, let me see. Okay, people are saying they're missed about the final payment. Well, right now there are no updates. I can say that from our side, from our host, we're trying to push, but it's really it's up to Norwegian to decide, and I'm sure other cruise lines are probably looking into it. If one will do it, maybe the rest will. So who knows? We're just gonna wait and see. It's about
that seems to be the trend. Once one does it, and everybody's applauding them, everybody kind of falls in step.
Yeah. So deployment. Any updates? When are we going to see 2022, end of 21?
We're actually going to do the deployment on April 27th.
April 27th. Okay, so in about 3 weeks, we'll get.
We're going to get the fall. We're going to get the remainder of 21, and then going into the end of 22. So we'll have that deployment on April 27th. Now, we were supposed to announce the deployment of our new ship coming out in 22, the first ship in the Leonardo class. That has been postponed until July. Simply because, introducing a new ship, right now, not the best timing. But at least we'll do the deployment of every other itinerary from the fall and winter of 21 going into 22. That deployment will go on sale starting this April 27th. So just like you said, just about 3 weeks.
Okay. And Leonardo is there any delay, or is it still on same time?
It's still on for the deployment schedule. Right now it's looking supposed to be coming out in the fall of 22. The only thing that just got pushed back is just introducing the itineraries for it. So we don't know.
Because I would assume the yard, the shipyard is probably closed. You're doing it.
Yeah,
right?
The shipyard is closed. They did already, they cut the steel already on it, but obviously it's obviously work on the ship right now is halted because of everything going on. But as of right now, there's no word on any delays to its deployment in the fall of 22. Of course, subject to change naturally, but right now we're still on schedule for when she will make her inaugural.
Yeah, and we talked about Canada and Alaska before. You can go to the previous video and check it out later. Um, they're saying that you guys are the only cruise line that hasn't announced anything regarding Alaska and Canada because the rest.
I
Um,
well
so
aware.
we did say that everyone
Well aware.
that people will follow. So the point they seem Norwegian is not following yet. But hopefully, when do you think is
Well,
there to come an announcement?
like I said in the first video, we're gonna have a conference call at least tomorrow, which I'm sure they'll be provided some updates in that. But we are, obviously we're well aware that Disney and Royal and Celebrity and Carnival have already made their decisions on that. Trying to kick over every rock to finding a possible solution. But we see what's going on around us, and we know what's happening. Like I said in the first video, we're not trying to do it to be stubborn, and we're not going to just sail for the sake of sailing. Everybody's safety is the first and foremost. So if we can't find a solution, an alternative solution, then we'll fall in line. So we're just a little later in the game on that, but we have to do our due diligence and seeing what alternative, if any, and more than likely there's not one. And we would announce that immediately. But right now our leadership team is making that call, and like I said, we'll have a call tomorrow. Hopefully that provides something of an update that we can then pass on along to you.
Okay. So I've heard. I mean, it's related to the NCLH in general. I don't know if you have more information, but I know we've seen. Royal has taken a huge loan. Carnival has taken a huge loan and bonds to keep afloat, as they say. How's I know a lot of people are asking, maybe fearful for the industry. I know the companies are taking big loans and trying to hold it until keep themselves on the above water until we can start sailing again. Any information regarding Norwegian, what they're planning on doing?
I mean, right now it's business as usual. A few weeks back we did, something similar to what Royal and Carnival did, but that's what everybody in the industry is doing. If we had discussions that if we didn't, sell another cruise, like sell any other cruises, we would be fine for in terms of money in house, we would be fine for the remainder of the year. That is still not ideal. Obviously we want to sell new cruises, so bookings still are occurring. But in terms of the viability of the company, we're still, as you said, we're still afloat. Between Norwegian, Region, and Oceania, we're still, business as usual. We are still trying to get new bookings, new sailings, but again, so are our competitors as well. These are all like, just back channel stuff that's above my pay grade into knowing what, taking out these lines of credits or loans or anything like that, but otherwise, no, we're a healthy company. We're doing fine still. Um, you know, but ideally,
I think it's really important to emphasize to the agents if you're not aware of it, and also to your clients. Yes, the expenses are huge normally, but they they are at kind of a skeleton crew. They're not buying so much food. There's not a lot of expenses on fuel, and fuel is cheap right now. I guess
right.
they let a few people go on leave, so the expenses are not as huge as always. And we all same it for your business. We just have to hold and wait until everything goes. But I don't foresee something as big as Norwegian, having any issues. You guys can, as you said, hold on until the end of the year with no income, and you guys don't need to actually start sailing to make money. As long as you start booking stuff, and people are starting to look to the future,
Yeah,
there is
and,
there is
and
income.
people are like I said earlier, people are still making reservations. So money's still coming in. It's not the booking pace that we would have foresaw, or for when we told our investors, or what we projected for budgets. But they're still coming in, so we're already beating that trend of not making any bookings for a year. We're still getting the bookings, little by little. So that's a good thing. We've had right now, we've had about 70% of the FCCs being reutilized, so that's good. So right now it's just about trying to get to May 11th, and that would be our target date, to want to get back out there. Even where that stands for like itineraries like Alaska or Canada remains to be seen, but you know, if the U.S. government and the governments of the world open up their ports and are willing to do it, we're gonna set sail, and as with our competitors, what those itineraries will look like, clearly that will remain to be seen. They might be just new ports of call or new Caribbean itineraries to offset something else. Who's to say? But we're all, not just Norwegian. We're all pushing forward. Like, we can launch something in mid-May. So
Yeah, so you pretty much answered the next question, which was, when will you decide for the cruises after May 10th? So again, as you said, the goal is to try and go, but realistically, we have to wait a little bit and see, and wait until also the other cruise lines and everyone to decide what's going on. Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky to tell clients to. They don't know. They have a cruise next month, and to know if they're going or not. I totally
right.
understand.
No,
Um,
and we get that too. And that's
but we don't know if the school will go back and the end of. We don't know a lot of things, and I don't think we can. We don't want them to say, okay, we close the entire year. First cruise is going to come out January 1st. They're hoping. Everyone is hoping that the companies will go back to cruising. We'll just have to wait and tell your clients to be a little bit patient with the information. Reduced deposits. What's the policy for reduced deposit? Because I'm seeing other cruise lines. I think Carnival has issued reduced deposits. I've seen some with other cruise lines as well. Any plans for Norwegian?
Well, we are currently running a reduced deposit promo. Right now, our deposit is 50% off the normal deposit. Normally, our deposit is $250, so right now we've dropped it down to $125. So that's currently ongoing. We've actually just extended that until the end of May.
Okay. So 125 a person, reduced 50% of the deposits. Information about the summer in Europe, same. It's the same
It's
thing.
the same. It's the same as
Yeah.
Alaska right now.
Right now, you have most of the flights to Europe will probably get canceled as well. So we just have to wait and see. Just tell your clients to just hold on, and things change on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, sometimes even within an hour. But we just have to wait and see what's going on.
Yeah, everything is, the key word with us is everything's been fluid. Anything you and I talk about today, like you said, once we turn this off, everything can change again. So,
Right.
it's just being up to speed. We are doing as best as possible to get that information to our advisors, and being able to get that conveyed to your clients.
Yeah, spend the time. Go to Norwegian Central. Do the training program, the NCLU program. Um, any changes with? I know there was a schedule change or something changed with the PhD program, the NCLU program. Did it already go into effect?
Yeah, it went into effect on the second, so back on last Thursday. So now, what we're doing with our discounted cruises. So if you book your own cabin at a reduced rate, um, Oh, thank you. Nice comment there. If you book your cabin using a reduced rate, in the past, you could not get like any of the free at sea benefits, like the beverage package. So a lot of the times, agents actually just went ahead and booked the regular rate so I can get that. Well, now, since April 2nd, if you book your reduced rate cabin, you can actually now get the free at sea benefits. So that's a great incentive for you. In terms of the PhD, we're not doing the free cruise anymore. So if you had a free cruise and you hadn't utilized it by April 2nd, that's no longer an active promo. But we are still offering the deep discount on agent sailings, and giving the ability to have the beverage package added on.
Is it up to 35, 40 on certain cruises, or
It's up to 35%.
35? Up to 35. So if you do the program up to, well, masters, and then PhD after you sell 5, 7,
You sell 5
5.
7-day cruises, and they have to be 5 different 7-day cruises. So if you have a group going to Hawaii, for example, and you sell 5 cabins, that doesn't count.
Oh,
but if you sell
okay.
one Hawaii, one Alaska, one Caribbean, one Europe, and a Bermuda, for example, that would count towards the
I
PhD.
can't sell 5 Caribbean on different sailings.
You can sell 5 Caribbean on different
Just not,
sailings. They just
just
can't be
not
5
on
in
the
the
same
same
sailing.
group.
Five different sailings, 7-night sailings.
Correct, but they can't be 5 in the same group.
Okay. Yeah.
On
Well,
the same
different
sailing.
sailing. Yes.
Yeah.
5 7-night sailings, different sailings. So I got to use my PhD at sea of 2013, 14. See, I told you I still have the thing. So on the birthday. So that was a good program. Maybe in a few years they'll get adjusted or change back. But the point is, spend the time, do the training, and you can get up to 35% off if you finish the program, you sold the cabins, and luckily now we also can get the promotions added. All the
Correct.
Is it, if there's kids sail free? Will that be? It's the regular published price minus 35%.
So the discount for that would be only for the first and second, but the
Okay.
kids sale free would be applicable for the third and fourth, if that promo is going on that
Right.
sailing. So
But
that
if
sailing needs
there's
to
a
happen.
promo for the third and fourth, it's still whatever the published rate is. There's going to be that deduction
Correct.
discount. Okay, that's good. It's good to know. If people missed, the gratuities went up a little bit, right? Last week.
They went up a nominal fee. They went up 50 cents a day. So this was only for sailings. So what is kind of like I want to say a bright side to this is only pertaining to brand new bookings starting April 1st. So let's say you've had a client that was booked since December, for example, and they're not sailing until November. They're grandfathered in under the old prepaid service charges. So as long as you just simply add the service charges to the booking. You don't have to pay for them. Just simply add them to the booking. Once they're added to the booking and then you end up paying, they're grandfathered in under the old prepaid service charges. So really this is only affecting those sailing April 1st or anybody that's going to only pay for them after the end of the cruise.
Okay.
So if you do have someone that has already booked, they're grandfathered in, just be sure to add those service charges to the booking before they get on board.
But they still have to pay them before they get on
Correct.
board.
They would have to pay them, but they don't have to pay it like this second. So let's say someone's sailing in November, they're outside final payment. It's not saying, okay, you have to add them and pay for them right now.
Yeah,
just go ahead and add them to the invoice.
Yeah, you can
and
add
then make sure they're paid.
but make sure it's paid, because from what I know, if you add the gratuities and forget to pay them, they might get deducted from your commission because the booking is not even. So yes, add them, but eventually don't forget to pay for them, because otherwise your commission will pay for it. So
so just as long as just make sure they're paid for in full for those gratuities prior to the client stepping foot on the ship.
Okay, so we've mentioned on the future bookings that we're protecting our clients, we're moving them. There's an extra 5%. Are we getting anything for the cruise that was canceled?
Yeah, so if your commission's already been paid out, if you're part of a headquarter, a home office group, as long as the home office has received your commission, you're protected. If it's in processing, it's protected. So that's a good thing. So we are protecting the commissions for these canceled sailings, whether you cancel them or whether we cancel them. Then the new sailing that they book, you would get then paid commission on the new booking as well.
What if we had a group booking that is normally being paid after sailing? Is that protected?
That still qualifies, correct?
Okay.
And any tour conductors, if you have tour conductors, that also gets treated the same as the commission,
As long as the sailing was canceled,
as long as it was already paid out.
paid out. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we're not recalling the commission.
Someone said it was a group booking and not received yet. The groups are normally paid about 30 days after sailing. So what is it still going to be about the same date of the original group date regarding the
It
commission?
would be based off when they were scheduled to go out. So in a situation like that, it's when it was scheduled to go out.
So if you had a late April group booking in a group, you will still get your commission sometime in May.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Let's see if we have any more. I don't see any more questions. Um, anything more to add?
I mean, right now, we've covered all the main talking points. Like I said, we're hoping to get some new updates on Alaska shortly. Like I said, we have a call tomorrow on that. We do have our dash sale promo, which is basically double onboard credit. That is set to expire April 14th. How that works is usually our dash sales, like a balcony, for example, you only get $100 onboard credit. Well, now if you book during the double dash, you actually get double that onboard credit. So $200 for a balcony. That's combinable with all the incentives going on with the take all offer. Remember, free at sea is now basically, everybody gets everything pretty much. So inside cabins now get all 5 offers. Assuming third and fourth sail free. That's ongoing as well. And then the 20% offer. We talked about that. That's set to expire April 14th. Although there's been discussion about moving that out as well. And this is all combinable with the 30% off promo, which is still ongoing.
Right. I see someone mentioned that they would like to see the prepaid gratuities as an option for group booking. Uh, Maybe they mean the affinity group. We haven't talked about affinity groups. You feel like explaining it a little bit?
Sure. No. So the affinity groups, and we could touch on that same question because it all links the same. So our affinity group program, we offer group discounts depending on how far out you hold the cruise. If you have an inside cabin, that gets 5% no matter when. But 5% also qualifies for ocean views and above if you hold the space from 120 days to 270 days prior to sailing. That's a 5% discount. From 271 days to 450 days, that's a 10% discount on ocean views and above. And then everything after 451 days, that gets a 15% discount for ocean views and above. With that, we also offer amenities for each categories. For studios and inside cabins, they can choose 2 amenities plus a bonus third amenity. Those amenities are your beverage, dining, Shorex, or Wi-Fi amenities, similar to what you find in Free at Sea. And then your bonus amenities are a $100 OBC, a $100 bonus commission for yourself, a photo package, intra cruise calling, amenities like that. For ocean views and above, they get all 4 of the main amenities plus a bonus 5th amenity. So they get 5 amenities, which is really, really rich. And our tour conductor credit is 1 for every 10 passengers. So assuming double occupancy, 1 for every 5 cabins. Now, to answer the question in regards to the gratuities, much like in Free at Sea, if you get the beverage package, the gratuities are not included in that, so you do have to pay for the gratuities. Now, I can give something of a glimmer of hope, maybe. So, Roy, as I was telling you earlier, I was on a conference call, the conference before joining you today. The conference call pertained to groups, and that was one of the hot button topics. So that's something that's being reviewed. Nothing new really to report, but it is a popular talking point of adding those gratuities. So maybe, knock on wood, if we revamp it a little bit, maybe that now gets included in that.
And we're talking about prepaid gratuities. That's the 20% on top of the beverage package and the dining, right? Not the prepaid service
Not the
charges.
standard service charges. No, we're talking about more so the beverage gratuities.
And what about just prepaid gratuities that are? It's okay. We're all.
Sorry, my wife and kid walked in.
So and regular prepaid gratuities, the service charges, they're not one of the options for the affinity group.
They're not one of the options. No.
No. Okay. So again, to summarize, the earlier you book, the higher the discount, the higher the category, the more inclusions.
Correct.
How do we book an affinity group? Can we just do it on Book NCL, or do we have to call?
Nope, you can actually do it online. You can call if you're comfortable with that, but you can also go to Book NCL on Norwegian Central to set it up. And obviously, there's more visual steps that would assist. But going over it real quickly, you would actually start it off as a regular booking, so going in as a new reservation. When you get to the screen that selects the actual sailing that you want to go on the very far right, there's a little square that says FSG, that stands for Freestyle Group. You would actually click on that, and that actually helps you create the group shell.
Okay. And is there a minimum? Is there a maximum? Do we have to pay deposits for affinity groups?
So for affinity groups, the minimum to hold to qualify is 7 cabins. Now the TC ratio, as I mentioned, is 1 to 5 cabins. So the TC will kick in at the 5th cabin booked, but to hold the group, you have to start at 7. Now, when you hold the group, you can hold the space without payment up until 60 days from when you held the space. So if you held it today, 60 days from today, a $50 deposit per cabin is needed to continue holding that space. Think of it like a retainer, just to continue holding that space. But that's only for the unsold cabins. So if you hold 7 cabins and you book 3, you only need to put that retainer on the other 4 cabins.
So 50 per unsold cabin within a group to hold. It's refundable up until final payment, or when do we drop? 120 days prior.
120 days prior to sailing is the recall date.
Okay. Yeah, people say the complimentary prepaid gratuities are very popular, so they're looking for it. People are excited about the 5 cabins. 5 cabins for the TC. It is a good program. There's okay, yeah. Well, I wanted to say 2 for 10, but yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing.
Yeah, same. Yeah, same, it works the same. But that's a great opportunity for you because with our other group type, our speculative group, that's 1 for 8 cabins. So for you to earn your TCs, the affinity group is going to be a great way to earn that TC at a much quicker pace.
Yeah, and then you can utilize the TC, either give something back to the clients or have a cocktail, do something with the money, or keep it, use it as a promotion, use it.
Absolutely.
How about again? I don't know right now regarding working with the BDM, but in general, co-ops, something like that, to work with your BDM.
Absolutely. So, what's great about partnering with your BDM is obviously, we can help you strategize, create a marketing plan. We try to get to know your business a bit better, so understand, what you're doing, who you're selling more of. Ideally, it's selling more of us, but, I understand, you have other vendors that you work with. But yeah, as Roy mentioned, we have marketing budgets, so we can help you with co-ops, so any marketing initiatives, whether it's a cruise night, any advertising you choose to do that you're paying out of market for, reach out to your BDMs, whether they're local or, myself with Roy, you could reach out so we can provide that additional support because, we don't want it to be money out of your pocket. We want to help stabilize you and take care of you on that front. We can also help with any booking incentives you want to do. So let's say you're holding a group space and you want to promote that, but you want to add a little bit extra, like a bottle of wine or onboard credits, anything like that, reach out to us. We have budgets for that as well, so we can help you incentivize your guests to book sooner than later.
Perfect. Great. So I want to really thank you for the time. we've covered a lot, and I hope people will get to see it. If there's more questions, we'll try and answer, or I'll forward some to you to verify. Um, Again, everyone use the time to educate yourself, learn about Norwegian, learn about the software, and hopefully in 3 weeks we'll get the new deployment. We'll be able to look into the future and sell a little bit. I don't think people are going to be worried about 2022, so we can
Right.
start booking at least something.
Yeah.
So thank you, Chris, and we'll be in touch. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Roy, for setting everything up. Thank you for taking